USPAP, 7-hour national update course, 2022 through 2023. Quiz. Number 1. A new edition of USPAP has been released. Which statement is true regarding the effective date of this new edition of USPAP? A. The effective date of USPAP is required to be based on a 2-year cycle. B. The ASB determines when the addition of USPAP will be effective. C. The new USPAP will automatically become effective on January 1st of the next calendar year. Or D. The federal government determines when the addition of USPAP will be effective. Oh, I guess I ran out of time. Anyways, I was going to go with, I think it was the first one. The new USPAP will become automatically effective January 1st, next calendar year. ASB determines the effective date of USPAP is required to be based on a 2-year cycle. All right, the correct answer was the ASB determines when the addition of USPAP will be effective. The Appraisal Standard Board determines when the addition of USPAP will be effective. The ASB determines the range of effective dates that is most appropriate for each edition of USPAP it adopts. The length of time an addition is effective has changed numerous times over the years. Chapter 1, Effective Dates of USPAP. You are reading, all right, number 2. You are reading an advisory opinion in the USPAP publication. Officially, advisory opinions are considered, ready, set, go, similar to exposure drafts in that they contain proposed revisions to USPAP. B, other communications are not part of USPAP. C, an integral part of USPAP. Or D, enforceable requirements that real property appraisers must follow. I'm going to go C. Damn it, I missed that one too. All right, the correct answer was B, other communications and not part of USPAP. Advisory opinions, frequently asked questions, and the index are considered other communications that are not part of USPAP, but are included within the USPAP publication for convenience. Chapter 1, what is the USPAP publication? Next. Why and how changes are made. Page 9. Changes to USPAP reflect the current standards of the profession, improve the clarity, understanding, and enforceability of USPAP, and promote and maintain public trust in appraisal practice. Most of the changes that the ASB considers each cycle are the result of concerns raised by various stakeholders. Other changes are the result of the ASB's periodic review of USPAP to ensure that it is in line with current conditions. Here is a general outline of the process. The ASB. Number 1, develops and releases drafts for public exposure. Number 2, reads and analyzes the comments received. 3, finalizes changes to USPAP. Something we'll go over each step in the process on the next several pages. End of page. Page 10, exposure drafts. All proposed changes to USPAP are published in exposure drafts, which is a final proposal by the ASB to revise USPAP. These drafts are posted on the foundation website, and notice is sent to appraisers and other interested parties. The exposure period for a draft is never less than 30 days and is often 45 to 60 days after the distribution date, unless the ASB specifies otherwise. For information on how to respond to an exposure draft, visit the Foundation's website at www.appraisalfoundation.org. Sometimes the ASB will issue a discussion draft, which is intended to solicit feedback from industry participants and others regarding issues the ASB might address in USPAP. The discussion draft does not contain any proposed changes to USPAP. Nevertheless, the responses received to these discussion drafts are instrumental in the ASB's decision-making process. Many of these suggestions from stakeholders subsequently become part of exposure drafts. End of page. Page 11. Analysis of comments received. The Foundation staff receives all written comments and retains them permanently. Each member of the ASB reads and values all comments. They focus on the reasoning and insight presented in the comments rather than the source or author. The ASB impartially considers all comments and is guided by the quality, relevancy, and accuracy of the points made, not their frequency. Often a comment might provide insight beyond what it originally proposed, or stipulates discussion that may lead the ASB in a different direction. If the ASB's review of the feedback results in a fundamental change in direction from the original exposure draft, additional exposure drafts are issued as needed. At the end of each exposure period, the board considers the issues brought forward and develops a work plan to address those issues. End of page. Page 12, more on comments. Exposure drafts are available to anyone, and anyone may provide comments to the ASB. Responses to exposure drafts are commonly submitted by individual appraisers, appraisal organizations, state enforcement agencies, appraisal management companies, government agencies, clients and users of appraisal services, and others. Each party who submits a comment receives an acknowledgement of receipt from the Foundation staff. Following the expiration of the exposure draft written comment period, an individual can provide oral comments at the ASB's public meeting. The Foundation maintains a permanent record of the history of the drafts, a file of comments received in response to the exposure drafts, and other pertinent correspondence. Written comments that are received are posted on the Foundation's website in PDF format and are available for anyone to download and read. End of page. Number one, which statement is most accurate regarding the ASB's analysis of comments to exposure drafts? A, comments from designated appraisers who are all members of foundation sponsors are given greater consideration in the ASB. The comments B are essentially considered as votes and are tallied. No. C, each member of the ASB reads and considers all comments. Or D, the chair of the ASB reads and edits all comments before passing them to the rest of the ASB. I'm going to go C. Yes. You answered that correctly. Yeah. All right. Let's just go over it one more time. Number one, which statement is most accurate regarding the ASB's analysis of comments to exposure drafts? A, comments from designated appraisers who are members of foundation sponsors are given greater consideration by the ASB. B, the comments are essentially considered as votes and are tallied as for and against the proposed change by the vice chair of the ASB. C, each member of the ASB reads and considers all comments. Or D, the chair of the ASB reads and edits all comments before passing them on to the rest of the ASB. You said C, each member of the ASB reads and considers all comments. That was correct. All right, number two, ready, set, go. Number two, as the terms are used by the ASB, what is the difference between a discussion draft and an exposure draft? A, an exposure draft is issued by the ASB while a discussion draft is issued by the AQB. B, an exposure draft is released in writing while a discussion draft is discussed at a meeting without any written documentation. C, feedback on the exposure draft may be provided by anyone, but feedback on a discussion draft may only be provided by appraisers. Or D, an exposure draft is a formal process to revise USPAP while a discussion draft merely solicits. I'm going to go C. Oh, I got it wrong. Damn it. All right. The correct answer was D. An exposure draft is a formal proposal to revise USPAP, while a discussion draft merely solicits feedback from industry participants. An exposure draft contains a formal proposal to revise USPAP, while a discussion draft does not. A discussion draft is intended to solicit feedback from industry participants and others regarding issues the ASB might address in USPAP Chapter 1 exposure drafts. All right, number three. The ASB releases an exposure draft of proposed changes to USPAP, and you wish to provide comments. At a minimum, you will have blank to provide comments to the ASB. Ready, set, go. I'm going to go A, 30 days. Ha! All right, cool. You got it right. Now I remember that. So the takeaway is at a minimum, you will have 30 days to provide comments to the ASB. That's the takeaway. I'm going to end it right there.